Hi everyone, we are
LaChiMoLaLa.
LaChiMoLaLa, and this is our reaction video to In the Soop Season 2, Episode 2, BTS version. Now we actually have to say that because they're doing multiple In the Soop, so it could get confusing.
Yes.
But this was another super long episode. I'm loving that every episode is like an hour and 20 minutes. It's like a mini movie of BTS. And I always think that I'm like, what am I going to watch? It's going to be boring. It's never boring. It's
Yeah.
like the Seinfeld version of BTS. It's hilarious. There's always something happening, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And this episode was no exception.
Yeah, so it's a continuation of just day one. Wow, very, very eventful.
Right?
Day one out of 4 days. Wow. So they started the episode off from continuing from eating lunch, right?
Yeah.
So they're eating lunch, and you have Jimin out there practicing basketball in sweltering heat.
Which is apparently his new thing, according to the little snippets we've seen of what they requested. He really wanted a basketball hoop. You think Suga would have asked for that, but no, Jimin's the one who wanted it.
He asked for good kitchen tools and stuff, right?
Yeah, Suga did. I know. He's such an old man. I love it.
I love it too.
He's like, can I get like a decent cutting board and some good knives? Jeez. And all the best Korean beef.
Yes, all the Hanwoo. Yeah.
That's all he wanted.
That's all he wanted. Yeah. But yeah, so he was playing basketball, and the guys started making a really delicious dessert, which makes me want to eat it. I can't pronounce it for the life of me, but it was watermelon, milk, and a carbonated drink, so all mixed together. And
which was clear. I wasn't sure if it was like a Sprite or like just a regular like liqueur. I don't know
either. So now I gotta look up the recipe for it, but it looked very simple and very easy and very effective and very delicious. So,
and the editors were hilarious because they kept showing who was making it, but then they kept pointing out that J-Hope's the one who wanted this. Yeah, he requested all these ingredients, and he was being kind of casual about it. He's like, yeah, you guys should make it. Yeah, let's make one. Like, he helped not at all with it, but he was the first one in there.
Wait, what? Didn't he help JK a little bit with the watermelon?
Oh, did he? I just remember Suga and JK going on and on. Oh, you're right. Suga gave him his spoon after a while because his thumb hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was so cute though. Like, I don't know, like JK has grown into an adult, because I love seeing him being the sous chef. He's always the sous chef and always learning from Jin or Suga in the kitchen. And
he's very curious. He does want to know how to do it. Like, you're right. He's never just like loitering. He's like, what is this? How are you doing this? How can I do this?
Yeah. And you wonder why he's good at everything. It's because he has an inquisitive mind, so but yeah, it was fun watching the guys prepare that. I believe they only used half of a watermelon, but the thought that crossed my mind was like, yo, why is this not seedless?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Like, no, I saw seeds in there, and I'm like, why is this not a seedless watermelon?
Probably not bad for you, right? Like, you can probably eat some.
It's not, but it's like, I don't know. For me, it's annoying to pick out the seeds, but
I was kind of like, why do they add milk? That was the weird part to me. I was like, why do they add milk?
Yeah.
But that's probably because most of the time when I make something with watermelon, I add vodka. So I was a little like, that's weird.
I think you should tell them to not add milk next time and add your special flavor into it.
Sprite, vodka, and watermelon goes down real good, guys.
On an empty stomach?
Oh, well, they just ate a huge lunch.
That's true.
They're gonna be fine. I know they don't drink until after dark, though. I've noticed that they seem to wait until after dark and then they have to drink. It's like a must. They're on vacation. I get that. When I'm on vacation, though, it's like the moment I get into the airport, even if it's 6 a.m., I'm like, I have to have a drink. I'm on vacation.
That makes sense. When you're on vacation, why not?
Yep. But I loved how they were kind of shading Jimin. Like they were watching him play basketball too, and like Suga was like, "What is he doing? Doing it all wrong."
And the guys were like, "Oh, there's so many air balls," you know.
Oh, and RM immediately was like, "Suga, go out there and teach him. This is like a real like a movie moment. Like go out there."
Yeah, and he totally did, which is like so sweet, you know. Like I love like the pairings in this episode was really fun to watch, like Jimin and Suga.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of them together, you know.
Yeah, and then like V and JK, that was like a fun pairing too, so we'll get to them in a bit. But I really love that Suga was showing Jimin how to play basketball, because the bro did not like he struggled. He was on the total struggle bus, you know, on making some of those like shots in. And as a fan of basketball in general, like I don't play it, I like spectating. Yeah, it was a little bit hard to watch. So
well, I loved how Suga was such a good teacher. He really only gave like 3 or 4 like small pointers, and all of a sudden Jimin kept getting it in. It was amazing. And he was like really nice about it. He wasn't that mean. I mean, except for the time he told him that his butt was sticking out.
and I love his Jimin's reasoning behind that. He's like, yeah, because I squat a lot.
That's you.
Yes. And I completely understand where he's coming from. So yeah, it is only natural to squat. I mean, I don't know. Is it natural? No, I don't think it's natural to shoot that way.
No, but I think once you've like trained your body to do it, it's probably unnatural not to, right?
Yeah, that is also true.
Like if you drop a pencil in Target, do you squat to get it?
Yeah, I don't. I you know, that is very true. I'm also very
try it.
I'm also very protective of my back, so I'm very cognizant when things are on the floor like that. So, but then that's just me. But you know, whatever. We're not here to talk about me. But yeah, like I thought that was so cute that like he made that comment, and I was like, oh, I get it, you know.
You're like, I feel you.
I feel you. But
yeah,
it
was amazing. I mean, we know he loves basketball. We know he's played forever, but still, he like missed 1 shot out of 100. It was like no matter where he was on the court, it was just like in. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why he's called Suga, right? So I mean, it means shooting guard, you know, like back in the day when he used to play basketball. So it completely makes sense. But he like just a swish every single time. So
yeah, he still got those skills. Still got them.
Good job, Suga. Yeah, and so then we transition to Jin, and initially so I feel like I would be Jin on vacation for some odd reason, because initially he was on the floaty for a little bit getting some vitamin D, and then then a few like I don't know, like later on he goes into the house and he's like laying on the floor like a little starfish. And then you see Suga this time like in the house, like, and he's practicing, you know, on the guitar, always working, you know.
I loved how he was multitasking. He was playing the guitar and like watching sports or something.
Yeah, he was watching TV at the same time. So, and then he turned around and he saw Jin on the floor like a starfish, and then you hear Jin saying like, I don't know how J-Hope could be out there in the pool. It's so hot.
And the pool scene, I was loving. That's another interesting pairing. V and J-Hope. We don't see the two of them, just the two of them that often.
Yeah.
And that was really, really fun.
That was the cutest thing. Like, I loved it. I love what was going on. Like, it's funny. Hobie mentioned that, like, yeah, I could be myself, I don't get to do this often in my daily life, and yeah, I don't need permission at all, like I could just be myself.
Permission to dance right
Yeah,
now, right
yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly. And so, which was really funny, is that he's always like this. Like, he's always so carefree and happy, and and it's so nice to see him too without makeup too, because like he looks so great, like
He does. He really
naturally.
does.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, he doesn't even need makeup at all.
And I love how they do this on if you've seen Bon Voyage, they have this as well. It seems like anytime V's there, he's allowed to pick the music. And in fact, people always ask him to, because I guess he picks the best music. But J-Hope instantly, when he saw him, he's like, oh, put something on, put something on. And like as soon as he did, they both started dancing away. Like every time he changed the song, they just changed their dance. It was so cute.
It was so cute, and I loved it. And rewinding a little bit, like before that scene, like V was actually practicing the trumpet.
Yes, he had a virtual trumpet lesson, which apparently he's picked up. Just so cool. And I was like so impressed by what he was talking about. I actually really love Chet Baker myself, and that was the musician he was referencing. It's very 50s West Coast jazz, like Art Pepper, Bill Evans, Stan Getz, Jerry Mulligan, that style. And I was just fascinated that he knew it, but not really, because he is a very well-rounded musician. He does listen to a lot of stuff. And Chet Baker kind of has this like cool bad boy image. Like he's like the, Marlon Brando when he was like young and hot, like in The Wild Ones. Chet Baker's like that, but like with a trumpet. So he's definitely got like kind of a bad boy edge to him. Which honestly all jazz musicians have. If you think jazz is boring, look up how many people OD'd. A lot. Okay, heroin is a big part of the culture. It's very interesting.
Wow.
It's very interesting. I don't want to say that it contributes to the sound, because it doesn't, but I mean, you literally spend all your time in dark seedy clubs all night every night, and you sleep all day. It's a vampire's game, you know what I mean?
Oh,
wow. But yeah, I love Chet Baker. He's got this real like suave debonair side to him, and I just was so excited that V wanted to play like him. I was like, oh my gosh, how cool. And I also loved how V kept patting himself on the back. He was like he knows he sounds terrible because he hasn't been doing it very long, but he's like, most people can't sound like anything. I'm like a prodigy. I can already make sounds. I am awesome. And I was like, I love it. And his teacher was so cute too. He just kept being like, yeah, that's it, man. Good job.
Yeah.
Get some lip balm. Yeah.
Yeah, his teacher, his instructor was really, really sweet to him. So I loved it. So encouraging too. Yeah. And I love that he brought his trumpet outdoors too, and he was playing with Hobie, while
he was when he had Dynamite on, and then he was like playing the trumpet as well. Also, just one quick thing, rewind. He had asked his teacher when they were taking a break to play Autumn Leaves, which is a pretty well-known jazz standard. But honestly, when he asked him that, BTS has a song called Autumn Leaves. So I at first thought he asked him to play BTS's Autumn Leaves. And then when he started playing the traditional one, I was like, oh yeah, duh, of course. Why would he play BTS's Autumn Leaves? Like, he's a jazz trumpeter. Of course he's going to play this one. But it honestly took me off guard. I was like, wait, this is, oh yeah, that other song. Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, I loved when he put on Dynamite and then he was like trying to play along with it. And was that when Jimin popped out?
Yeah, Jimin popped down and he's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, he was literally like, what? And he couldn't see V at first, so he had to like crane around.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And he was working out, right? So it must have been so loud because he was like, what is happening out there?
Yeah, he was doing his own session first, before RM joined him. But RM during this whole time was riding his bike.
Oh, that's right. I loved how he was singing Bicycle as he was riding his bicycle. It was like very meta.
Yes, it was.
And I loved how it's so RM. He was worried about how he was going to get back, and he like barely left.
Yeah. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, he'd literally gone like not even half a mile, and he was like, oh, it's hot and this is all downhill. Oh, it's gonna be so hard to get back. I was like, whoa, like enjoy yourself first.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and he totally did. He
Yeah, he
saw
did.
like a really nice scenery, like a nice hill, right? So
Taking
it looked,
pictures.
yeah, it looked really pretty. So
And he even waved to the drone, remember? He was like,
mhm.
hey.
Yeah,
He's like, they're
yeah,
always watching.
yeah,
You can't film with a cameraman that way, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. And so then when they all come together, so RM comes back from his bike ride, and then V plays his trumpet for a little bit, and then Hobie's dancing in the pool like crazy, like he's having a blast, and yeah, so then RM kind of just joins in on the fun for a little bit, and V starts using the hose and spraying like crazy, like
It felt like a foam party when he was
yeah.
spraying the hose. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like one of those like early 2000 foam parties where you don't get like fully wet, just damp. And
Yeah.
it seems like a good idea, but it's actually uncomfortable later. But yeah, I love how RM instantly was like, oh, what are we dancing? Are we dancing to our songs? Let's do it. Like he jumped
Yeah.
right in. He was all about it. Just like how Jimin didn't jump in dancing, but he started singing
He
instantly.
started singing, yeah. He started singing Dynamite, which was so great.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I love that scene in particular because of course, like you mentioned before, like the relationship between V and Hobie, we don't see it often. So it was so nice to see that, and also Hobie being just like so carefree. It's
Yeah.
like
Which is
I
how we always think of him, but you're right. It seemed extra like
it
he
was
had
extra
nothing on
carefree.
his shoulders.
Yeah, like nothing, nothing, like everything that's happening in his life,
Melted
like
away.
it's just gone.
Yeah.
Like just him in the pool and just having a blast, and so that was so much fun to see, like he was just having a ball. So that was really fun for me to watch. And then after that sequence, then we have RM. Okay, so the guys, I know I'm sighing a lot because I get
What?
concerned.
Is this when they're at the gym?
Yeah, I get concerned about people running from point A to point B in slippers,
Didn't he also ride a bike in sandals? I mean, I don't think there's like a full shoe in the house.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, really? So
Because you're right, he changed out of his damp clothes and then started running around, right?
Yeah,
Which he had already said earlier that it was too hot to be outside.
Yes.
So now he's biked and he's running.
Yeah, exactly. So he runs from from I guess like where he changed or whatnot to like the gym area, and he runs in his slippers, and I'm like, oh gosh, I hope he doesn't fall because our sandals,
I would definitely fall. I'm not that coordinated.
Me either. And he was running for a while, like that looked like a long distance. So yeah, and then he joined Jimin in the gym. And before Jim and RM worked out, so did JK. JK did his little boxing thing with his
that's right. He
yeah.
requested that special, that like punching bag.
Yeah, and again, he is wearing sandals, and he didn't know whose sandals he grabbed.
That was my favorite part, where he was like, "Are these mine? Whose are
these?" Yeah, he's like, "Who are these?" Yeah, so
like,
they're all
familiar.
I mean, it's pink, so it's probably Jin's. So
you have to guess.
Yeah, if we really had to guess. but yeah, so he was working out and boxing in sandals, and then in that sequence, then he went to go play with Bam, which is love, but we'll talk about that in a second. But then it's Jimin and RM working out, and so it was, for me, it was really fun to watch them. And of course I watched the form.
I was like, were you watching or were you judging? Was it both?
might be a little bit of both. It is judging and watching at the same time.
Also, every time you say Jimin at the gym, I just want to be like, Jimin's gym. Jimin's gym. Sorry, sidebar. Yes, so you actually, I mean, a little history here in case you haven't been watching our videos so far. Tammy works out every day?
Almost every day.
Yeah. And she CrossFits. It's not like she just goes in and does some cardio. She's not on the elliptical for 20 minutes, okay? So what did you think about their form? Give me the stats.
Oh gosh. Wow, you're really calling me out now.
I know.
All right. So RM did pull-ups, and so that was perfect. And so then he also did what you call our it's not knee raises, but it's a progression of toes to bar. So basically I think the end goal for them is that they want to swing their body up to, hit the top of the bar with their feet. And but what they were doing is actually an ab workout too. So it's straight leg, hanging straight leg, or there's a term for it. I can't remember what it is. Of course I forget it like when I'm talking about it, but
you probably do it.
Yeah, so that's what RM was doing, but Jimin did the same thing, and
it was cute. He was like a little mini me.
Yeah, it was cute, but he was trying to do like a thing called a kipping thing, but he should have kept his legs straight while he did it. Yeah, it kind of spread apart too much, and he didn't keep his tension in his neck. Okay, now I'm getting really judgy right now.
Hey, Jimin, when you're in LA, if you need a personal trainer, Tammy knows how to do it.
Yeah, but he did a core workout, so that's part of the core workout that he was talking about. And then he did Russian twists with plates and with dumbbells. And before RM came in, he also did thrusters, which are pretty much a squat to a press. And that's what he did.
Oh, so. It sounds like something J-Hope would do. Thrusters. Sorry, J-Hope hip joke. I know, it seemed like Jimin was in there working out for a while, and RM's obviously, I mean, he was very concerned, it seemed like, in the clips for when they were asking for stuff. Like, he works out every day too, you can tell. It's something he's obviously like super into, and I think he said that in the concert, that one of the things he focused on during the downtime was working out, which makes sense because you can control this. You can't control the rest of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm sure it's just because he wanted to be in control of something, which I totally relate to.
Yeah. And for RM, like his reasoning before for working out is that he's working out a lot. One of his reasons is that so he can get better at dancing, like the stamina and stuff like that. So, which is totally understandable. And then Jimin, he's doing a lot of weight training now. He runs a lot. So if you watched his V Live back in August, or not in August, his birthday. I'm like, wow, why did I say August? His birthday.
September?
Yeah, October. And
October?
October, which is like literally October 13th. He said that he runs a lot now too, just for his mental well-being. So he would run late at night, which makes sense to not be seen. But he also does like a lot of weight training too. So and he talks about the gym all the time now because that's what he does. And if you guys watched the online concert, you saw his first outfit, you would see how ripped his arms are because they're very toned. So
RM too, he has very toned arms.
Yeah. RM is toned everywhere.
Yeah, his legs are impressive. I'm sure he can. What is that? It's not bench pressing. See, I don't know anything about the gym. What's the thing where you press with your legs? He can do a lot of that.
Yeah, like leg presses,
oh, it's that simple. Wow.
Yeah, leg press, or
his legs are incredible. I mean, I totally believe he probably has a huge amount of stamina now. Like, And Jimin has always had it. He's probably just tightening up, right?
Yeah, and it's for his mental well-being too, like the release of the endorphins and stuff like that. Yeah. But for RM, like I'm pretty sure he squats a lot because his thighs are very toned and his calves too. So yeah, and when he wears tight shirts, because like even at the part when he was riding his bike, you could see through the wind like his chest where it's like very defined. Yeah. So he probably benches a lot too to get his chest the way that it is, So yeah, I mean, not that I notice or anything.
But like you said, it totally makes sense, especially during this time period. I feel like a lot of us have looked at something in our life that we're like, I'm always saying I'm going to do this, and I don't do it enough. Yeah. And this was kind of your chance to focus on something like that. Yeah. And it does make sense about the running, especially because I feel like that's a quiet activity that'll calm your mind, and it's solo, and it's more, it's almost like a meditation for some people, not me. But for some people, yeah.
Yeah, and Jimin has already like he's always said in his V lives, especially like his last one, that working out like is a good thing, like it just pretty much like centers you, So he's like, yeah, go for a run, or work out, it's good for you. You know how Jimin is. He always says things like, please be sure to eat. He's always so thoughtful about ARMY.
Wear a coat. It's cold today.
Yeah, exactly. Very thoughtful.
Well, the only thing I can say about this gym session was it made me excited because I was like, there's going to be a lot more of these.
Yeah, it made me excited too because like I want to see what they're doing, like how are their bodies getting all ripped?
And like, because they definitely are.
Yeah, because like another question that like one of our friends brought up was like, okay, they're working out in sandals, but is it okay for RM to work out without shoes on? And my answer is it depends, So he actually took his sandals off and he was doing a bent over row, which is in the subtitles it said like, oh, upper body, yes, part of your upper body, but like when he's pulling it back like that, it's also his back muscles too. So this is such a sidebar right now, but if you plan on working out, have the appropriate shoes, because there's a reason why there's running shoes, specific running shoes, and there's a reason why there is training shoes. And in RM's case, he probably didn't want to bring his training shoes. So working out bare feet is okay for certain movements. So it's like for deadlifts, pretty much like you're picking up, like if you're picking up something from off the floor, it's pretty much like you're deadlifting something, So, and for that, you don't need shoes for that. You could just work out with your bare feet on that, because it provides like that. At the end of the day, it's like stability on your feet, and you want to feel the ground, feel your feet like on the ground, and feel your hammies when you deadlift. And in his case, he was doing a bent over row, which is completely fine, that he worked out bare feet for that specific movement. Though if you're doing a Olympic lift, which is like a compound movement, that is not advised to wear, like you have to wear shoes for that, So it just really depends on what movement you're working on, but in his case, armies, don't worry. His workout was completely safe. So
yeah, you're getting people stressed out, Tammy. Come on.
Yeah. So he's good. So
and he's also fine. So please keep working out. It's working.
Yeah, it is working. So I could talk about them working out all day. So, but we're going to move on from this topic before I will bore all of you guys. So yeah. And so they worked out, and then we got to see Jin after him being a little bit dramatic on the floor. We saw him going all crazy with the gaming.
Oh my gosh, I loved this part. The way he was basically doing like a sports announcer for himself. was
Yeah.
so hilarious. And it was like an auctioneer. It was quick, it was fast. He was down on himself, he was praising himself, he was embarrassed for himself. Like it was the whole gamut of emotions. He's such a ham. There's a lot of times where you can really tell that he trained as an actor. This
Yeah.
was one of those times.
Yeah. And it was so cute because like Jimin was literally around the corner like with Suga, and
No, they were like 2 rooms away.
yeah,
The
and
PC room is on the other side of the
oh, is
kitchen.
it the other side? Oh,
Yes.
geez.
So
Okay.
there's like, so Jin's in like the living room, then there's the dining room kitchen area. Granted, there's no door. And then there's the PC room. And even though the door was open, I mean, they could hear everything.
Oh my gosh. I thought it was much closer than that, but I guess
Not
I'm
really.
wrong. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So he was super loud then.
Oh my gosh. Like like no one was there, you know. And I love that Jimin and Sugar were playing again. They were playing video games together. It was like they played basketball, they played video games together. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, maybe they hang out a lot. We just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just, like you said, like it just a dynamic that we normally don't see. And it was really fun to watch them together, you know? And it
I
was
especially loved how Jimin wanted to play so bad, and he was like, "I'm gonna whoop your butt," and Suga's like, "Yeah, I haven't played in forever." And then Jimin lost epically,
yeah.
and Suga barely tried, and he was like, "Oh, I won."
He's like, "Oh, I won. Oh yeah, this brings me back in the day." You know,
Right?
I'm
He's like, "I haven't
what?
played this since like junior high. Wow, I'm good at it still."
Uh,
He's so casual about it, and Jimin's like stressed out.
oh man, poor Jimin.
It's totally their personalities in like a stark contrast. It's so funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was fun watching them, you know, game. And seriously, Jin got really nuts over Mario Kart. Like, out of all games, I'm like, really, Mario?
I love how he changed out of the motorcycle right away because he wasn't doing good. He was like, nope, nope, no, can't have this. He didn't even finish that game. He was like, nope, let's start over. Let me get a cart. Yeah. And then he was like rewarding himself. He only got to eat a grape if he won.
Yeah.
But then he kept losing and he kept eating grapes. I think he was like, ah, fuck it. But like he'd already said, oh, a grape for victory. Every time I win, I'll eat one. And then he's like, fourth place. Third place. It's so funny. That's me, where I'm just like, I'm only allowed to have 2 of these. I'm going to have 8.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Same, girl, same.
I loved it. That to me is vacation.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the dynamic between V and JK. That was really fun watching that. Okay, so we finally discovered what JK is not so great at, and it's tennis.
Which is funny because they did tennis on Run BTS, and of course V was really good at it. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious how both of them were like, how do you play this? Wait, I forgot everything. Yeah. Obviously they didn't keep up with it the way I think somebody kept up with ping pong. I think maybe that's V. Somebody was keeping up with that. Mm-hmm. So that's really funny, but I just thought it was hilarious how they were both like, ugh, how does this work?
I know, right? And then at some point they're like, oh, let's switch sides, you know, maybe we'll be better, you know, if we switch sides. No,
that's not really how it works. Yeah. And you must have been excited because your favorite cast member was there. Bam was like, I also want to play. And it was so adorable how V just kept calling him cute, and JK was just like, sit over there, but like he couldn't scold him. He was smiling at him and being like, you're a good boy.
Yeah, he kept going for the tennis ball or any ball, rather.
They're playing fetch on the side.
Yeah, and I'm like, that is so cute, you know. And yeah, at some point JK's like, let's take you back.
Yeah, he's like, let me put him away, I'll be right back.
Yeah. But JK is such a great dog dad. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Like he's so good with dogs.
And that dog is obsessed with him. Did you see when V came into the room and he was like trying to get him to come over, and Bam was like, whatever, my dad's over here.
Yeah, it's like, forget you. Like,
He's
I don't
like,
want to play with you.
I mean, you'll do if he's not around, but he's right here.
Yeah. Like, let me play with my dad,
So cute.
And I love how he went outside the sliding door and he was tapping on it, and Bam went nuts. He's like, oh, why can I not touch you?
Like,
and then
Papa,
and then he looked over at V and he's like, hello,
You're like, can you do something about this? Can you open this door?
Yeah. In that time when JK2 was like pretending to throw a toy, and like poor Bam was like, where did it go? Where did it go? And I was just like, oh man, that's something I would do with my dogs too.
Right. He was totally teasing him so bad. He was like, come on.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, you're such a dummy, but then at the same time he's like, oh, but I love you.
So adorable. I love you.
Yeah, he's so good. Like, and like the members too, like playing with him too. Like,
Jin played with him, Suga played with him. Like, everyone was all about Bam.
Yeah. Suga, like that. He had like a huge smile on his face, when he was playing with Bam.
And even J-Hope was like, he's just the same. He's so cute. Like, I loved how everyone was like, he's just like he was when he was a puppy. I was like, they've obviously all hung out with him many times before. It was so adorable.
Yeah. And just love it. I'm so glad that they allowed like JK to bring Bam,
Yes.
So good. But anyways, then RM, he started to do his own thing, which was reading.
Oh yeah, no, wait, didn't he paint too? After he worked out, I think he went up to his room and painted. And they had noted before, they all have a blank canvas in their rooms with I was going to say painting accoutrement. That's not right. Painting tools, painting supplies for painting, something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, we haven't seen season 1, but it sounds like they did some painting in season 1. So I thought it was cool that they obviously liked it enough. They just put it in everyone's room, so everyone's going to have a chance to do it. Yeah. And Aaron went in like right away. He was like, yep, I'm painting now. I've worked out. Now I'm painting.
Yep. And his artwork came out really well.
Even though, I mean, he did most of it. He said he wasn't done yet, but yeah, I mean, you could totally tell what it was. I loved the colors. He was, of course, super down on it. It was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing either, and mine wouldn't look that good.
Yeah, seriously.
And I also go to a lot of museums. That doesn't mean I know how to paint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I mean, like, it looked good, like, for, like, I think that there's just the bottom part that he needs to finish, but like, oh my gosh, like during that short amount of time and he painted like that.
He did so much. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness.
And you're right. Then he was like, okay, I've worked out, I've painted, it's time to read.
Yeah. And then
his other favorite thing to do.
Yeah, was reading. And you see him reading like in the study area, then you see him reading like outside. And then like at some point too, he was reading outside and you see like a hysterical JK run across him and singing Dynamite, He was
totally singing Dynamite. Let's also talk about how JK just sings all the time. Like, just when he's in the kitchen, when he's with Bam, when he was getting the tennis stuff, he's just one of those people. I mean, I do this too. Where you're just like randomly singing. Sometimes he's making up a song about what he's doing. Sometimes he's singing a real song. When he was cooking, he kept doing it. I was just laughing so hard because I'm like, I'm that person. I get you.
Yeah. I totally get it too. Like I sing a lot at work. Well, clearly, I mean, when I'm around my coworkers, like, and they would tease me so much because they're like, okay, like she's singing again, like what? Life is a musical. Okay.
It is. It totally is.
Yeah.
I used to play a game with my best friend when I was little, and the game was just, we couldn't talk. We could only sing when we were like conversing.
Oh, like, I love that.
What a weird game for 7-year-olds to play. But it was basically like you're in a full-time musical. There's no talking, only singing. But it's not like we were singing real songs. We were literally just talking, but singing. Weird. So I'm sure JK would be totally into that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's totally like a JK thing anyways. So he would have appreciated that. Yeah.
But yeah, when he was running past, where was he even going? Was that when he was going to the shooting gallery?
To the trampoline.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I loved when RM was reading and there were all those noises and he's like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Trampoline time.
Yeah, so it was JK, Jimin doing flips in there, and V.
Yep.
So all three of them were yep, they were just having a blast. Like,
it looked like so much fun. Didn't you want to do it right away? Like as soon as I saw them, I was like, oh, I mean, I can't do, 3 flips in the air like Jimin can do, but it looked really, really fun.
Yeah, like, well, for me, like, our family used to own a trampoline.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I mean, because it used to be the fad back in the 80s.
Well, I was gonna say, when I grew up, everyone I knew who had a trampoline was Mormon.
Oh, our family's definitely not Mormon.
I'm just saying, it was like a weird, and I always assumed that was because most of them had like larger families, so it was like something to do. You know what I mean?
Okay, that makes sense.
But the only trampolines I've ever been on were at Mormon people's houses. So.
Oh yeah, so we had a trampoline because my mom wanted to exercise. That was her form of exercise.
Oh, that's amazing! That was what she chose. I love your mom. Cool. So cool. And then you got to enjoy it. How fun.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, so
well, I was glad they had the sides up because they definitely would have fallen out.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, so it was fun watching them do all of that. It's like they bring out their inner child, and I just absolutely love it. Like, how often are you able to bring out that inner child? Not very often, because they're too busy being at the UN or shooting clips about how you should visit Seoul or taking pictures at Louis Vuitton. So I mean,
they have a million jobs. They don't have a lot of time to just hang out in such a fun way.
Yeah, #adulting. So that's pretty much what they're doing. But
wait, when was it where we got like the paint guns and they were shooting things?
Yeah,
that was before the trampoline, right?
That was after the basketball. So it was Jimin and Suga, and then V set up a bunch of bottles. Which
is smart. Did you notice at first he was shooting the gun like in a random space? Mm-hmm. Like he wanted them to play together, like against each other, but then he was like, ooh, this would hurt. Yeah, he's so considerate. He was like, nope, this is gonna hurt, let's do bottles instead.
Yeah. And so and he wound up being very exceptional, like using those air guns,
very good. He and Suga both, they could like honestly do no wrong. I was like, wow, it's like they've already served in the military.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't have to be worried about them.
You need to worry about Jimin though. He was as good at shooting as he is at basketball. Which I loved. I feel like Jimin's one of those people who I feel like is also good at a lot of things. So it was kind of fun to see him being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Because that's not how I usually think of him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the great quality about him is that like he has like he likes to persevere, and he's very like persistent, so
he was like, I'm going to do this until I hit one.
Exactly.
J-Hope was surprisingly good too. He obviously didn't know what he was doing. I mean, he had to like show him how to like look through the site or whatever.
Yeah.
But he managed to do a couple right away.
Yeah, and he knocked them, like, I guess it was like more like collateral damage because he knocked one down and the rest tipped over.
It was like bowling.
Yeah, and then I think it was V that like complimented him, and like, oh my gosh, you did so good, you knocked them all down,
That's totally V. Always complimenting, always worried about the other people. Suga was just like shooting something and like not even looking while it was going down. He's like, yeah, I got this. Like, he couldn't be more cool. I don't even think he tries. That's just him. That's literally just like, whatever, I'll hit them all. Boop, boop, boop. Like, so chill about it. It was so funny.
Yeah. So and that was like super fun to watch. And then
they really should have like, I know they've done paintball like once, maybe like on the 100th episode of Run BTS, but I was like, ooh, they should do like a full like campaign against each other. That would be funny. Or even better, maybe them versus TXT.
That would be
I would
really fun. Yeah. But the only bad thing is that it would be like 7 of them. Like, who would you leave out?
No, I wouldn't leave anyone out.
Yeah.
TXT's the juniors. They just gotta suck it up and figure it out.
Dang.
That's how it works. I'm brutal, even with my boys.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Or they could fly you and me out to Korea and we could help them out.
Okay, there you
Options.
go. That works.
Options.
All right. Okay, I'm down for that. I mean, I'm not a sharpshooter, but I mean, I could try my best.
Right?
Yeah.
So when the guys were on the trampoline, is that when Jin decided he was going to make clams?
Yes, I think so. So, and that was really funny because he asked Suga a bunch of questions on how to.
Well, first of all, can we just talk about how they literally had like 8 tanks, saltwater, fresh water, just filled with seafood, live seafood, and it was all covered in tarps because it's really hot. I just thought that was crazy. And he went out there and he got like the giant clams, like the razor. Are they razor clams? No, those are little. I forget what they call them, but they're enormous. They were the size of my hand or my head. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, they were so huge. And I was like, oh my goodness, wow. They are living like kings.
Right? It's so awesome. They didn't even have to like hunt them down or dig them up. They were just there.
Yeah, exactly. And you see like Jin just casually walking over to the kitchen with a bag full of clams.
He did say they were heavy though. He was like, oh.
I'm like, Jin, that's why you got to work out more. We call that farmer's carry, and we do a lot of that. So I mean, it's a very functional movement. So but yeah, like the clams, like he wasn't sure like how to prep it, and like Suga knew everything.
He requested them. He specifically requested them. But he obviously didn't Google like how he was going to make anything with them. He was just like, I like clams. Can we have clams?
Yeah. But I mean, like Suga knew everything though, like what to do and stuff like that. Like,
oh my God, my favorite was when Jin was like, oh, I don't think we have a bowl big enough for this. He's like, you just put the plug in the sink and fill the sink up. And he was like, what? And he was like, yeah, there's a plug. See that plug right there? Just put that in the sink. And he was like, whoa. Has that all like, do we always have one? He's like, yeah, that's how normal people do it. Like he was shading him, but being like nice about it. He's like, yeah, just put a plug in it.
Oh my god.
Then he was like, is it hot water or cold water? He's like, it's salt water. And he's like, yeah, but hot or cold? It was so funny. Yeah, Jin literally had no idea what he was doing. He was just like, I don't know. First I clean them. And then when he had to cook them, same thing. He's like, I don't know how long they cook for. We'll just put them in here and see what happens.
Yeah. And then he's like, yeah, maybe we'll just take like part of the shell off. And then like,
clams are ready, but because they open on their own.
Yeah. And then that's when Hobie said like, aren't you like to JK and to Jin, like,
yeah, because Jin of course has roped JK in because he's super strong to open these clams because they don't want to open because they're not cooked.
Yeah. and the funny thing is that like Hobie was like, yeah, I think clams open on their own, like when they're cooked. And then JK's like, that's not the way to eat it anymore. And I'm like, what?
I know. I was like, says who?
I'm like, who said that?
That's I don't even cook shellfish. I mean, I do like shellfish, but I don't cook it. But even I know that it's like, how else are you going to know when they're done? I just felt like that's why they kept being like, are they ready? Are they ready? And it's like, no, they're not ready. You're never going to know now. Now they're going to be overcooked.
Well, apparently it came out really well because Hobie loved it, and so did JK.
They did stop opening them though. We should mention that. They only opened a couple, and then they were like, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But this was part of the time when JK came over when they were in the sink, and he was like, oh, what are you doing? What are these? What's happening? Tell me everything.
Yeah.
So your point earlier about him just always looking, when he sees something he doesn't know, he wants to know all about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So but yeah, they had a great meal, and then Suga made clam soup.
Yeah, well, I love how he saw Jin messing around with clams, and then he's like, I could make something with clams. I'm gonna make something with clams.
Yeah.
It was so cute.
He's like, yeah, I'll get the manila clams. I guess they're the smaller ones, to make soup from it.
And he
So
was very impressed with the tanks too. I don't think he'd seen them before. He was like, whoa, whoa. He was like, all of this? Wow.
yeah.
Like, they're so humble. I love when they're still like, holy crap, is this all for us? Awesome.
Yeah. And I just loved how he was like cooking though, like he was just adding some of this and that, and I was like, man, that is having a guy that knows how to cook is hot. So it is super hot.
And to your point, not even with a recipe, just like, well, I know it has this and this and this in it, and I'll just put stuff in until I think it tastes good.
Yeah.
Like, he's a master at that. And that is very difficult. As someone who actually does enjoy to cook, I am more of a recipe person. I have to be really comfortable with something before I won't use a recipe. So I'm always super impressed by people who are like, I mean, I know basically what it is. And then they'll cook it and it's amazing. You're like, how did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't learn that really. That's like innate.
Yeah. I mean, like normally for me, I start off with the recipe, but then like I veer off course. So yeah, I'm one of those people. So like a hybrid, I guess,
Like it.
So
I loved how when he tasted it and he was like, oh, it's perfect. And then he made Jin taste some and he was like just waiting for the compliments. And Jin's like, isn't it too spicy? He was like, what? No, I think it's perfect. And Jin's like, it's too spicy. And he was like, all right. He put some water in it. Like, it was just so funny. He totally was like, no, it's perfect. But I mean, I'll fix it for you. Like, and I get that because I always make stuff, I guess, too spicy. Like, my palate can take it. I like it.
Yeah.
And other people are always like, ooh, wow, it's hot.
You're like, oh.
Fine. Yeah, and then I'm always like, fine, and put something else in to water it down.
Yeah. Yeah. So he cooked like a clam soup. Like they had like a nice like shellfish type of like dinner,
Yeah,
like
well, they also had a bunch of like beef, like they were grilling.
Oh yeah, that's right. The hanwoo of the beef. Yeah.
And RM was super excited. There was some kind, it was like the neck or something. There was like something that he like exclaimed excited. He was like, oh, whoa, we have this. Like they were so happy. Everybody likes like their own different parts. I feel like one thing you can always count on, at least from all the V lives I've seen, every group of Korean boys, like they can talk about beef forever. Who likes what's the best part, why it's the best part.
Yeah,
like, beef is their thing.
yeah. I mean, beef is delicious,
It is delicious, but even these guys were like Suga was like, oh, this part's the best, and someone else was like, no, this part's the best because it's marbled better. It was like, wow, are we debating? Just eat your food. And again, Suga's grilling, he's working so hard, but he like really seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, he really loves it. Yeah. So but yeah, like they had that's pretty much all they had, right? Like grilled clams.
Nope, they had ramen for dessert.
Yeah, that's right. We made ramen too. Yeah. No,
because no meal, right when everybody was like, I'm so stuffed I couldn't eat anything else. He's like, I'm gonna make some ramen. And everyone's like, I want some. Yeah. And I loved how V was like, I'll just make 7 then. And they were like, whoa, 7? Whoa. And they're like, just make 4. And he's like, 4 is not enough. And he made 5.
Yeah.
And he was right. They ate everything.
Yeah. And it was funny though, because like JK's like, it sounds like he's the master of making ramen. So he came back with Bam. And he's like, no, like the secret is to have the water evaporate, like instead of pouring it out, so I was like, oh my goodness.
And I loved how V was like, well, do you want to wait 3 hours for ramen? No. And I agree with V. That's not the point. Ramen is a quick fix. It probably does taste better that way, but who has that much time? If you have that much time, you'll cook something else.
Yes, exactly. So I agree with V too.
And then they were all like cheersing and drinking beer, the cloud beer, of course.
Yes.
Club. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it just seemed like they were having such a good time, just like hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked so nice. It looked like, a bunch of brothers just like hanging out and just having a good time. And then you see Bam,
Yeah. Running around,
Yeah.
enjoying everything. I love how they were like, you can't bring him out here. We're eating meat. And JK's like, he's not interested. And they're like, everybody's interested in me.
Yeah. Yeah, and like they said like, oh yeah, he could smell the meat or something like that. And then JK's like, he's never had meat before.
He's not interested.
I was like, what? Wow. So
Well, it's smart because you don't crave something you don't know.
exactly. That is true. That is true. But unfortunately, my dogs could smell food, and I've never fed like human food to them, and yet they sit there and they stare and they give me the guilt trip. So
right. Bam didn't do that though. He just wanted to run around.
Yeah.
He ran with Jin, he ran with Suga. He was just like, yeah, I just want to run around. Who wants to run around?
Yeah, he's such a good boy,
I love that Suga only ran like maybe 12 feet and then turned around and ran 6 feet and then like walked the rest of the way. And even J-Hope was like, you're such an old man. You look like such an old man right now.
Yeah.
So he was wearing like super baggy clothing. He just looked like and his like white hair is all in his eyes.
Yeah.
So adorable. He was like, oh, I'm tired. That's it. That's enough for me.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah. He's so funny.
He's so cute. And I loved how the subtitles kept being like Bam playing with his uncles. Uncles love Bam. Mm-hmm. Like ridiculous.
Yeah. Ridiculous, but it's true. They're all his uncles.
I love how all the pets that each of them has a pet and it's everybody's pet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the episode pretty much ends right there. Like
I think the next episode is going to start with whatever they do after dinner, right?
Yeah, so I think they're going to start with day 2, right?
No, I feel like there might be something going on after dinner. They usually stay up pretty late. I'm anticipating, well, I'm hoping they're going to play like games or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's my hope. I love when they play games because they're so competitive.
They are.
Have you ever seen, sometimes they play like BTS version of Uno and they get like super crazy competitive over it. And whenever they put down a card, depending on whose picture's on the card, you have to sing their song. So like you'll sing Epiphany if it's JK, or you'll sing what's the Jin song? I always forget. No, Euphoria if it's JK. And
I was gonna say
right? Yeah. They've done that a couple times. It's really funny. But yeah, I love when they like play games or do something together. I felt like it wasn't that late, so even if they just have karaoke and PC gaming, it would be fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess they had like dinner like around 8. Yeah. So maybe
considering they slept till like noon to some of them, I'm guessing they'll be up for a little while.
That's true. Okay. Well, I'm completely wrong then. So
well, we'll see. Predictions.
Yes.
Tune in next week to see if we were right.
Yeah. So this was like a very fun episode. I thought, like just watching the different dynamics, between different like pairings, and just watching Jimin learn how to play basketball. And the guy's cooking. So a lot of stuff in one episode.
Yeah. I was surprised. They did so much stuff, like when I'm on vacation, I do like 2 things a day. Yeah, but they managed to pack in a bunch.
I just shop or sleep on vacation. That's my type of vacation. Good plan. But anyways, do you have anything else to add?
No, just that I'm like really enjoying this. I'm excited for once season 2 is over, I'm gonna watch season 1 finally. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to like disrupt the flow and get confused about what's going on. I feel like if I start season 1 now, I'll get confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really liking it. You'd think that it would be boring, but it's not. Yeah. Which confirms what I've always said, that I would watch BTS read the phone book. It would still be good. You know what I mean? Like they can do anything. I'm interested.
Yeah, they are so entertaining and we are so here for it. All right, you guys. So if you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you for episode 3. So we'll see you next week. So we are LaChiMoLaLa. see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. 안녕.